Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Rockin' Beards podcast. This is the show where we break down non-hip-hop music track by track, give our thoughts and opinions on every single song. My name is Holden Stephan Roy, and joining me today is...
Mike Tzintziras.
That's right. So today we're going to be running through the Korn album, Follow the Leader, and we're going to talk about every single song on the album. And that's what we're going to do today. So I'm going to do the little intro bit. You want to skip that shit, you can feel free to check the description of the video where you'll see a full itinerary of everything. And on that note, we're not experts. We're just some regular ass people. And I find often is the case, people who come to the video tend to be a little more knowledgeable about the history of the music that we're discussing in terms of just being big time fans and all that shit. Watched all the interviews, etc over the last 20 years. I can't compete with that shit. All I can do is listen to the albums and tell you what I think about them. So I appreciate all the amazing comments that we get as a result of just people who are also down to talk about the amazing albums that we discuss and whatnot. So I like to pick a favorite comment of another review. In this case, it was the last Korn album we did, which was Issues. And on that, Bryn Bordelin said, this album cover was from a contest. There were 3 other covers, one with like a newspaper kind of feel. The other is like a caricature of the band in an insane asylum. And the last one was like a picture of chalk figures on the ground next to some sort of memorial. But the main cover was the winner. And you can see the others in like FYE, I don't know what that means, or other place where you can find used CDs. And so I thought that was like a cool comment in like the vein of what I'm talking about. Like, as much as I might have stumbled onto that on the internet while looking into the album, I might not have like really recognized the significance of it or whatever. So just seeing comments on the different things that we talk about with that kind of backstory, it helps us be smarter the next time we talk about Korn, and it helps everyone else who comes to the review, because let's be real, everybody reads the comments. So that's the kind of community we try to foster up in here. We're going to get into it very shortly. I'm going to have a special shout out to the patrons in the beginning while y'all are still watching, to Ismail Gadamsi, Chris Prado, Jonathan Barnes, DJ Black Hurricane, and Linda Williams. We'll touch on that at the end of the episode. On that note, Mike, why don't you tell the fine people what album we're talking about today?
We're talking about Follow the Leader by Korn.
That's right. So this is the part of the show where we like to contextualize how familiar we are with the artist, this album in general, going into it, so that you have an idea of where we're all at with it. And since I've been basically talking this whole time, Mike, why don't you tell the people when you discovered Korn, when you first heard this album, what your general experiences was before this review?
All right, well, I was actually watching Much Music one time, which is like the Canadian version of MTV.
Oh, yeah.
And I just saw a music video starting that was a cartoon, and I saw a girl running up and stuff, and it was actually Freak on the Leash, actually off this album, and I was intrigued, and then I saw the whole thing with the bullet going through everywhere, and I really thought it was really cool, so I actually just wanted to hear more. And then I saw Got the Life came out a little bit afterwards, and next thing you know, I ended up asking my father to get this album, and he got it from me through this thing we have in called Columbia House, where it was like a CD club. Like if you join up with the club, you got like 7 free CDs. So that was one of them that I got. That was the first Korn album I got, was this one, Follow the Leader, and I have to say it's one of my favorite Korn albums.
Yeah, so we can safely assume that you listened to it a whole bunch.
Oh yeah, because I'm going to say from like 11 till 15, from 11 years old to 15 years old, Korn was actually my favorite band, so...
Okay. On my end, I do know who Korn was, because I remember when Here to Stay dropped and I was watching Much Music and I saw that video, and it it fucked me up, because lyrically it was like really powerful, and I was starting to get into my darker feelings of life phase. And let's be real, Korn's real good music for when you're in the darker phase of life days. And I don't know, basically every single that came out between then and, let's say, Evolution or whatever in 2006.
Oh, okay.
So in that period, every single that got released came out. I at some point bought the live album, which was kind of like a greatest hits album in a sense, and so I listened to a lot of shit. It was also like when The Wall came out, because I really like Korn's like 3-part cover of The Wall. I thought that was really cool. I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, like I've seen them twice live, and I have to say, like I even met them when I won backstage passes to a show,
Nice.
and yeah, I have to say, like live, it was definitely an experience because like seeing Jonathan Davis coming out with the bagpipes at one point and stuff, and like seeing how just talented these guys really were. Because I saw them in 2002, and I saw them in 2016, so very far apart shows, and I've seen how very different they can be. Because in 2016, it wasn't close to as good as 2002.
What's super fascinating is just prior to having decided to review this album, I'd been reading groupie stories for famous people online, and we'll be talking about one of those stories. So just fun facts. Because Korn, no, it was actually in this video I was watching about the fall of Korn, which is kind of a weird thing for the title of the video, but it was describing when the guitarist quit the band and what was going
Oh, I
on.
went ahead.
So
Yeah.
describing some of the depravity the band was up to around, some of the recording process of this album. I did do Issues, which I believe is the album after this one,
Yeah, it was
and
the fourth.
between these two albums is when Jonathan gets sober. If I'm not mistaken, and or it could be during this album, but I'm pretty sure it was between those two albums, and that was like a big part of some of the themes on the Issues album. So definitely, especially with the first song and the story behind that one, it's a different feeling, but it's crazy to me to think that this is like basically the band that is credited as being the start of nu metal, and how much I like nu metal. So how little I've listened to them is a little bit like, shit, I gotta fix that. As far as full albums are concerned, and this whole channel, a lot of it is album reviews, because it's one thing to make a banger song. It's one thing to make a cool single like Y'all Want a Single, which is a catchy little jingle, all things considered. But it's another thing to be able to create a cool album. So that's what this show is more about, though, is the whole experience of the project. So the only one I really gave the proper attention to before this is Issues. So now it's like we're going back an album to this one. And obviously, I know Freak on a Leash because everybody knows Freak on a Leash, and
That was like the intro to Korn.
but it wasn't for me.
Oh,
But it was a song I discovered after, because I remember somebody did Freak on a Leash for a lyrics poetry assignment, and there was a big conversation about the that chicka part, like how to do like a poetic analysis on that, which I could do really well now, but at 12 years old, I don't think I could
yeah,
have.
very different.
I digress. I think it's Seth MacFarlane who did the cover, and it's like just a bunch of kids. It's just like going up, and it's the same thing that gets used in the music video a bit. And you just see like a hopscotchy thing, and this little girl in a red dress, so it's super vibrant. Kind of represents almost like this innocence of this like little girl, whatever. And then all these blandless people who are just following their leader basically off of a cliff, in a sense, is kind of what you're seeing there through the innocence of this situation, because it's got like a child's game and shit. All things considered, like, I think it's a cool cover. Like, it's always one of those covers where you don't like forget it, in my opinion. Like, I remember seeing it my whole life. Like, Korn has those kinds of covers where you see them like once or twice, and for the most part, like at least this phase of their career, you just remember them so vividly. Plus, Seth MacFarlane's ridiculously talented as an artist. Like, he really, really is just next. I think it's MacFarlane. I hope not. I get confused between him and the Family Guy
I completely
one.
forgot to actually bring the album here because I actually had it at home. But the thing is, like I was gonna say about this album, like it has the whole dark kids going up, and then closer to the actual leader, where he goes with as Holden said, with the innocence. You have the red
Todd
dress.
McFarlane.
Todd McFarlane.
I can't.
Yeah.
So I know I fucked that up. I always get that fucked up, probably because of the last name part. The guy who did Spawn and all of that's who I was thinking of. The guy who did the Disturbed music videos. And I did, the last time I brought him up, I said Seth too, and I know it's Todd. I'm so sorry, internet
I'm a
people.
big fan of Spawn, so that's a shame to me. But yeah, great album cover, and I think this is one where pretty much when people are looking to buy this album, they actually knew what they were getting into because of Freak on the Leash was the music video that was really famous off the album, and
That's really smart, marketing wise.
marketing wise, people are walking by and they saw it at the store like, oh yeah, this is a Korn album because I saw the music video, so it's a very good tie-in that way, and I just feel like, as you said it, you see like the kids there, like with one guy with the girl on his shoulders. You're gonna have one guy with the Korn actual Korn actual like jacket on and stuff like that. So it's actually representing the band as well, just in case you didn't know who it was that you're getting.
Right. Honestly, though, I think it's engaging, and I like the "Follow the Leader" title, right, with the backwards R for Korn and shit. But just, it's such a counterculture idea, you know? Like, yo, don't be such a fucking punk that's just gonna blindly follow what people expect of you, you know? Don't be. It's almost like ironically telling you to do it, knowing that that's not obviously what they want you to be doing.
Yeah, follow the leader off the cliff, follow the leader off life.
You know, it's like commentary. Anyway, I don't have a lot more to say about this, except you wanted to bring this up now. It's a good idea. So why don't we talk about the first 12 tracks of the album real quick?
All right, first 12 tracks are pretty much, each one's a 5-second moment of silence, pretty much.
That's basically it. So there were two theories I found online for this. One is that Jonathan Davis is a little superstitious and didn't want to have a 13-track project, so made them put all the extra little 5-second clips in. If Sid were here, he'd say he's just trolling and fucking with you because he's an asshole, and that's also we're gonna call that a bonus theory. The other theory I found is, as you'll come to see when we discuss the song Justin, there was a kid who had requested to meet them like before he died, like a Make-A-Wish type thing, and this fucked him up, right? And so there's some thought that goes out there that the 12 tracks are a moment of silence for this kid, and that's really actually kind of sweet. So in general, just so you know, we did some homework, and that's what I found online. If you know of a real reason or a better reason, I'd love to hear it in the comments.
Yeah, I'd love to hear it too, because of it's really interesting thing. Because of when I got the album, I was just like seeing in the back how come it's starting off from track 13, and then afterwards I just saw why actually it did. So if you guys actually have some better input than what Holden and I found out, we'd love to hear it.
All right. So on that note, it's on. So I think to really appreciate what this song is about, we need to discuss what was happening while this song was vocally being recorded. So let me just quote Jonathan Davis here. We don't even need to put other people's words into the mouth. We'll just quote the man himself. While recording the vocals for album opener It's On, people were getting blowjobs right behind me. There were girls banging each other in front of me, people getting boned in the closet right behind me. And on his end, he refused to start the session unless his producer, Toby Wright, would get him an 8-ball of cocaine. An 8-ball? I don't really know how to describe coke terms. So,
I think it's an 1/8 of an ounce.
Basically, Jonathan Davis has also described this as possibly the most rock star moment of his life. And these people intercoursing weren't necessarily other members of Korn. I know from my previous looking into this out of curiosity one day that it was like famous people at that point, like other rock stars were in the room, and he refused to like tell who it was. So all that should just be taken into consideration when looking at a song with the lyrical subject matter of this one. But on the other hand, like, I don't know if I really want to be in that room, but yeah, I kind of really want to be in that room. Like, so even if you're not participating, even if just this orgy is happening all around you and shit, but just to like be that fucking of like a diva in your life where you can just demand like, oh, recording session, I'm not doing shit until I get my cocaine, and then you know you're gonna get it, because I mean at this point I believe Korn is fucking big. I don't know if they're like fucking huge yet, but I think it is their third album. They're pretty like established at this point. That's incredible. Like, it's just an incredible like times, right? Because can you imagine anybody being able to brag about that today? Yeah, you're not getting away with that today. I think the era of coke-fueled orgies being a point of pride is not going to be tomorrow. Anyway, what do you think about this song?
Well, yeah, I heard about the partying thing as well, and I thought it was pretty fucked up, the fact that you could just go and demand that right away. Like, say, he's not going to start recording until he's got his 8-ball of coke, and that's when you have, like, girls banging right behind him and stuff like that, and him just being there and just demanding and stuff like that. But I think that goes with the title. It's On is pretty much in as like, okay, I got my drugs, let me record now. It's on. And the song I feel is very like the guitaring is very much like a typical Korn feel to it. Like Korn have a very unique style of guitar where it's like very like I don't want to say like loose, but like lasery, like could be like even keyboardy kind of feel to it. And I just feel like the song is like a typical one, as in to give you the feel of who they are, as a good intro to the album, considering the beginning was all silence and now it's like, all right, it's on.
Oh, that's a good point, eh? Because the silence of the album, you're probably going to be there for a little bit, not really sure. Even if you know it's coming, you'll probably just put it down and wait for the first 12 songs, and then, it
Yeah,
just like kicks in hard. Okay,
yeah, like that's the thing. Like okay, like it was all silent, now it's on.
that's a good point.
Yeah, but other than that, like I just have to say, like this song was pretty much just them post party mode, pretty much. I feel, and like I feel it's like okay, we got what we want. Now let's give them what they want, which is to record.
That's a good way to look at it. I took this song in the sense of you can tell that Jonathan Davis is looking at this Cookfield orgy in a sense and is conveying like this self-awareness to the debauchery that's happening here. Like on the one hand he wants it, he needs it, and you see that really conveyed. Like I bet when he's doing that first lines, because I don't know, I assume you record the first verse first and then you move on. I'm just assuming here. So you can just see like somebody else is doing a line of his below while getting, the dick wet, and you just do it. Save some for me. He just like sings it out.
Yeah.
It's what I like. I want to play. It's time. Something's calling. I can't keep from falling. Come on. So it's still like sets it up like it's kind of fun and shit, like yo, let me in on this, I gotta be in on this action and whatnot. But you also get the illusion that it's not necessarily like fun, it's just kind of like a thing that is attractive that you keep doing, that it's just almost like a part of life. And you can tell that it's a negative thing by his choice of the words, I can't keep from falling. And then come on, and then you get the chorus, you see it's my fault, angel stabbing me inside, nothing changes, just rearranges for me this time. So in a sense, it's like, it sounds like a drug addict who's not comfortable with the debauchery in the way that maybe it once was. Like you're starting to become aware that it rearranges your sensibilities. You're okay with it while you're fucked up, but like when you really stop to think about the situation, it's like you're destroying yourself. So what once was these nice angels that might have saved you are actually just kind of stabbing you on the inside and whatever. And then once I cave in, what can I fight? I can never win. Myself I don't like. Why do people do drugs and shit? Why do people fucking give in? It's to escape that feeling of like, I hate myself in a lot of cases. And you can kind of get this, and you can feel it in the way he's singing, right? And you can feel it in the music. Like, why I don't think a lot of people like nu metal? Because nu metal kind of sounds like self-hatred a little bit. In this regard, like this is the anthemic sound of like, I don't like myself and I'm making poor choices in my life. So I think you have to have not liked yourself and made really bad choices in your life to fully appreciate lyrics like, once I cave in, what can I fight? I can never win. Myself I don't like. I've had numerous days in my life where I may have ordered that really like copious amount of foods and stuff my face in, and then lay there like a slothy fucking disgusting pig and shit, like, and then that you're gonna feel like shit before you do it, and you maybe can't even afford it, but you're gonna do it anyway, and then you do it. And that's just a safe example, like ordering copious amounts of food that you shouldn't, where I'm sure most people have done that a couple of times in their life.
Yeah.
But imagine if it's drugs. Imagine like, okay, I can get through the day without doing a line, but then literally girls are sucking dick, doing blow and shit, and you're like, this is not a regular temptation. Like, this is not a regular situation. This is some fucked up shit. But at the end of the day, I love the fact that it's not like putting the pressure so much on other people. I'm certain that Jonathan Davis is kind of aware that Jonathan Davis created the environment that has a copious, like they spent like 60 grand on booze during the recording of this album. Yeah, just like Jack Daniels and shit. Like,
Yeah. But
that was just the booze.
Yeah, I know, and drugs is definitely much more expensive
especially in the illegal nature of some of them. Look, all I'm trying to say is I feel like you can in the way the music is constructed, like Korn isn't making no short songs here. They're long, they're fully done. They got that slower tempo to it where I feel like it really creates that angry feel to the music, but it also has pain engaged into the, because it's not like crazy fast guitar riffs. It's like these slower, more elongated, like almost bluesy in a way, like in the what you would go to from a different genre of music, but because it's tuned down, it comes off metally, which I really like.
Yeah, and like it's also known the fact that Jonathan Davis used to cry in the booth when he'd be recording, and
You can hear the emotion in it. I don't
exactly.
know. There are certain parts on the album, and in case I don't bring it up, where even the way he goes just between like words and barely whisper, sing shit, like that level of control and understanding, like he's capturing emotion. Like this is a guy who used his body as a template to go through extreme amounts of pain to kind of repurpose it into art, probably because that's what used to be celebrated in artists, and then during this phase it wasn't so celebrated, and now people pretend like music's shit because nobody's allowed to torture themselves anymore. Anyway, those are just some random thoughts on that.
Also, like I heard, like recording this album, he was actually asked someone to punch him in the back while he was actually recording as well.
I wouldn't be surprised, man. Some of these guys went through some extreme shit to like feel.
Yeah,
just
it was
to
for
feel.
his anger, like pretty much just to have the emotional feel when he was singing. He was actually having somebody punching him in the back while he was recording.
So I gave this song like a 4.25 on 5. I think it's extremely well made, but like it's extremely particular mood music. So like if I'm in the mood for it, it is super like exactly what I want. And I don't know that there's a lot of bands that like, because you can hear the actual skill of the musicianship that goes into Korn, which makes me confused why so many people hated them back in the day. I guess it was just snobbery, but like I feel like Korn has a really good handle of how to like compose and to construct almost like from a progressive rock point of view this emotional experience. Like you're supposed to feel like the song is like falling apart as you get to the end, as he's going, come on, it's on, you know, like it's kind of like a drug trip. It's not meant to be this organized singular experience, which I think is to its credit, but it makes me a little less drawn to it as a person. So 4.25, because I really admire what like the art that is being created here.
Yeah, I give it a 4. I mean, like the song and the story definitely is interesting, and I just feel it was a good way to start off the album. But it's a song where you can skip it if you're not in the mood for it. It's not like the best one on the album, but it's also, if you're not a Korn fan, it's something that's good just to pretty much give you a feel of what you have to look forward to on this album.
Unlike the next song, which I'm certain we can all agree is unbelievably a powerful banger, let's talk about Freak on a Leash. I had a recurring thing that happened on the 2 songs I knew about before I heard this album, so I guess it wasn't that recurring if it was for 2 songs. I learned lyrics that I just didn't know the lyrics to. Like, let's be honest about Jonathan Davis's voice. It is so cool. The way he can flip between like talking and the hi, I can't do it right, but like that high pitched bullshit, and like the range and the control and how mid like word he can flip it up blows my mind every single time. Not even gonna lie. The downside to that is sometimes you think you know what he's saying, and then you realize you were just wrong forever.
Yeah.
He's not necessarily the clearest person to me, and these lyrics on Genius were very helpful to clear a couple things up. In fact, there's apparently like on the next song entire debates about like, you know, what is actually being said. But on this one, I mean, I'm gonna talk a lot. So Mike, why don't you just tell us how you feel, and then I'll talk a lot and I won't feel bad.
Alright, well, this was my introduction to Korn pretty much when I saw this video and heard the song, and I just feel it was really good because of, as I saw the design, I was talking to people at school about it. We were all talking about how the video was really cool and how the bullet was going everywhere. Then it got to the band when Jonathan was doing his that thing, and then it just turns around back.
Can we just agree it's so corny in 2019, but it was really cool back in the day?
Oh yeah, definitely, yeah. Like back then, like yeah, he even did one song on Life is Peachy, which is just that. Yeah, it's called Blind. Not Blind. Twist. Yeah. That was just literally. There's no. It was just all that. But in regards to that, yeah, it was very corny back then. But now, I mean, it was very cool back then. But now it would be really considered corny.
It's still a well-made video, people of the internet. I find myself very much enjoying watching that video. Maybe it's nostalgia, but I think it's the transition between Todd and his artwork and into the real life that really got me as being particularly cool, and not something that gets done a lot, just the blending of comic to real life.
Yeah, and also just the feel of like you just see that girl from the album cover just going up doing her hopscotch thing, and then you just see that cop just the gun fall down, bullet goes right past her, then goes right to her, bullet goes right over to her. She goes and just drops it right in the cop's head.
It's a powerful statement.
Yeah,
Like, stop shooting us, motherfucker.
yeah.
I wish people had learned the lesson.
Exactly, and that's a fight that's still going on nowadays as well. Something that's never been done, never been over. And this was in like '98. This was released, so I was like 10 years old, and it was very cool video to attract the young people too, because the young people, if they're gonna see a cartoon and stuff, especially in a music video, it will definitely attract the eye. And that's one thing that attracted me. My father even taped me the song because he thought it was cool when he saw the cartoon starting. So.
Another thing we need to point out is that they were doing the awesome nu metal dance. That's the one where you basically pound left and right, and you go, and you basically are going like that with your full body going real low as you go up and down.
Yeah, that's why they made their straps a bit looser for that.
Yeah, that is my favorite move in music history, dancing, and I'm really hoping with this like resurgence of like nu metal sounding things that we really get like the proper nu metal revival I've been waiting for since I'm old enough to enjoy music without parental supervision. But Freak on a Leash, yeah, sorry, go on.
No, I was just about to say, like, how when they were doing that dance thing and all that, that was the beginning of the nu metal style for that, because of that was something that just originated like that when they're dancing in that place when you're actually seeing them perform. And I just feel like it was just like a whole powerful thing because of that's what began a phase in a way.
What about the song though?
The song was actually just like the lyrics, especially when he was saying at the beginning like something takes a part of me, just the fact that like it's making you like just like pay attention to it just to feel like, and then like something takes a part of me, you and I are meant to be, just the chorus and everything just I find is it's a very powerful song if you actually just take to it. Like I don't find it has much to do with the video in regards to the bullet, but I just feel like it's a very good song in regards to gets you to pay attention to two different things at the same time.
Fair enough. I mean, this song is kind of taking a look at how they feel hoarded out by the music industry, which is definitely a subject they have talked about a whole bunch, while also probably being stuck in the music industry, because Korn is one of the biggest bands out there. Like, whether or not you want to admit it, like, they can sell, like, huge European festivals, and they got a lot of love in a lot of places. Whatever North America thinks, we are not the world, you know? Either way, you're right. This song just comes in, like, really powerful. Like, it just, like, from the beginning, the do-do-do kind of like sound that kicks in, it's engaging, you get interested, like what, nothing sounds like it, and then something takes a part of me, something lost and never seen. Every time I start to believe, something's raped and taken from me. Now what I appreciate about that is it's really kind of just describing the feeling of putting trust into anything, whether it be a romantic partner, whether it be you made an album, whether it be you trusted your boss or whatever, and then at the end of the day you got fucked and left and discarded at the end because you put faith into the wrong thing. So in Jonathan's case, this is the music industry. Life's always got to be messing with me. Can't they chill and let me be free? Can't they take away all this pain? I try to every night, all in vain. So now it almost correlates, like, why in the last song he sets it up like we're partying, it's debaucherous, I know it's a bad thing. And then in track 2, he starts to answer the question with why I feel a little bit the way that I do. So in here, you know, we see I try to believe that things will get better. The vapid reality of the world is that instead I feel like people take advantage of me all sorts of bad ways. Life's fucking around with me. I can't even exercise my free will, which at that level of fame, you had bodyguards and all sorts of weird shit going on where like you really feel like paparazzis and stuff are a regular part of your existence, and you try to escape. You maybe didn't want that life to the extent. Like, I don't think a band like Korn expected to get as famous as Korn did at that time, you know? Like, they became like Metallica big, and I know that might be a weird thing for people to hear, but like they got like fucking huge, right? So then what do? You get fucked up every night trying to escape it all. Sometimes I cannot take this place. Sometimes it's my life I can't taste. Sometimes I cannot feel my face and never see me fall from grace. And then, like, you hear that, and if you're a 15-year-old, you're going, yeah, my life sucks. I can't handle the pressures of everything. But if you're a successful person, or you're trying to cope with being a real person amidst the corporate bullshit of blah, blah, blahs, then you also go, yo, I can't, like, as an adult, I almost relate to this as much, but in a very different way than previously, because this is what corporate America, which honestly the music industry is just an extension of corporate America, it does to people. And then I love that last line, you'll never see me fall from grace. Like, this little defiant, like, no, you'll never catch me slipping, I will fucking make it through. And then the chorus, which is where I really learned lyrics I'd never heard before. So something takes a part of me, everybody knows that line. You and I were meant to be. I knew that line too. It was pretty clear. A cheap fuck for me to lay. I was like, what? He says a cheap fuck for me to lay? And it was like, so, you know, he's trying to hop on the music industry and have like a good time and enjoy life. But instead, just like when you're trying to smash a one-nighter with a dysfunctional chick, and then the next thing you know, it's a 12-month, 3-5-year relationship where she's controlling you and shit like that. And I'm like, that's a good metaphor. And then, you know, feeling like a freak on a leash. You wanna see the light. You know that part there? Yeah. Oh, every time it just gets me into everything. It's such a beautiful fucking song. He has no release. How many times has he felt diseased? Nothing in his life is free. And then, you know, he does the chorus again and whatnot, and you really get the sense that he's so fucking trapped and he's controlled and everything. And it's like these people are expecting him to drop, like, you know, probably really powerful music and whatnot. So what does he fucking do on that bridge? Boom da da da, boom da 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 da, boom da da, and it's so fucking cool. And it really reminds me a lot of scat vocalists. So like the old jazz technique of scat, okay, where you would be like da ba da boom bum bee ba 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 da boom boom. You know, that was an accepted basically what the mumble rappers are doing used to be a praised and accepted vocal technique when done correctly. But when you listen to the way he uses his voice as an instrument, the percussive nature of it, it just fits so fucking perfectly. And then nobody can agree on whether he's saying so void, boy, fight, whatever. So void, something on the mingaboo, fight, something, stay fight. And you're like, he's not really saying anything, but still expresses so much with how he says it and the intensity and the emotion of it, just to like fall back into that something takes up, you know, and you just feel the pain in his soul and shit. And fuck, man, this song is beautiful. I don't know anybody who's ever felt angst that doesn't like this song. Okay, this is an angst anthem. It's a fucking banger. This shit's like, I don't know, pick your favorite Eminem song for like emo bangers. It's like that good in my opinion. It's like the blueprint for motherfucking feeling aggression rate. It's obviously not the first of its kind, but for a lot of people, for a lot of the guys that I grew up listening to, they probably would have been inspired by Korn. Anyway, I gave this song obviously a 5 on 5 because I don't think another grade's acceptable for something that's so timeless. Like, the fact is, I think this song, as far as, this is a good example of what came out of this genre known as nu metal.
Yeah, well, I have to agree with you. I have to give it a 5 on 5 because as a guy who has Korn as one of his favorite bands throughout the time the song was out, and it was a good intro to them. And everything about it, like the lyrics, the video, everything to do with this song, I feel was done so perfectly. So that's why I have to give it a 5 on 5. I mean, there is no other grade that this song does deserve.
Alright, let's talk about another amazing banger off this Korn album. It's called Got the Life. This is my favorite Korn song.
Mine too.
So, apparently this shit was laid down over inspired by like disco riffs, which is part of why it has that dancey groovy rhythm under it. Because let's be real,
You get your boogie on.
if you wanted to talk about a song that you could like dance with a girl to that's by Korn, this is it. This is you can dance and the girl can grind on your little, her booty can be on your little thing and it could be a fun time is what I'm trying to say to this Korn song, more so than say Freak on a Leash, which she'll be like in front of you, but nobody's like moving and shaking in the same way. You know, this has like a rhythm to it. However, this was also another song where I was going, I didn't know any of the fucking words. Honestly, I just didn't know. Apparently, it's hate something, sometime, some way, something, kick off the front door or front floor. And I'm like, oh, ambiguous lyrics describing some kind of whatever hate in an aloof sort of way, which makes sense with the core theme of the song. Mine, something inside I'll never ever follow. I wish I could do what he could do. So give me something that is for real I'll never ever follow. I don't know. For me, I crave real shit in life, and I feel like life's a vapid expanse of nothingness, a lot of top level shit. Like, it's part of why I have a lot of trouble with sports. Nobody wants to have real conversations about sports. Everyone's sports feelings are based off of loyalty and not science. It's the most illogical thing in the world is a sports chat, so I have a lot of trouble with that shit. I like the realness, you know, and I'm not really into the trendy shit in life, as you can probably tell by my lack of general fashion sense and, you know, reviewing a Korn album in 2019. So, like, definitely not the trendiest motherfucker. So when I have that, like, the way he sings it, like, so give me some, like, he's just craving it, and I crave that shit, and I don't know, something is connected. And then get your boogie on, and you just want to get your boogie on at that part. And then, I mean, I kind of feel like while I didn't know what the song was about, at the same time, just the way the music and the way he sings it, when I saw the lyrics, I realized I kind of did know what the song was about. So, like, in the last song, we can see his general disdain for the music industry. And this is almost like trying to deal with the fact that while he might hate being in the music industry, it's a fucking weird complaint in general. Like, you got the life, man. You got everything going on. And apparently this music video was so popping. It was the first video that was retired by TRL back when TRL on MTV was a thing.
I used to watch that.
And they had to move it to a retired status because people were like requesting it so much. So I'm not even kidding when I say Korn was huge. Like, it was beating fucking big names and shit. Like, keeping people from number one when nobody was expecting it. And then, I don't know, in general, you get the sense of he feels like there's a lot of hate out there. There's a lot of darkness. People are kind of following trends. So, you know, give me nothing, just feel, and now this shit will follow. And, you know, it's like, stop trying to feed me garbage. Just feel what the fuck is over there. Because maybe he's feeling empty at this point in life and he's just craving it all. And then you have one of the most powerful choruses that I honestly think I've heard in a long time, now that I know the words. So there's a bunch of debate, and I'm going to say, I hear God paged me. You'll never see the light. Who wants to see? That's what I hear after looking into it. Now, there's debate on that.
Yeah.
But it fits into it, because I know that whatever, Genius doesn't even agree with me. I know it's not the more I see the life. That's a weird one. But, like, because, like, if you think about it, he's craving this, like, depravity from God, and then God, or, like, in all the whole world, like, and he feels like everything's empty. And he has, like, such a, like, that perspective that God paged me. You'll never see the light. Who wants to see? God told me I've already got the life. Oh, I say. So it's almost like you're here in this position. You'll never appreciate it. You'll never see, like, the light of understanding that you're looking for. You've got this all and you still feel kind of empty with it, you know? And then it just gets this crushing part for verse 2 where it's like, you know, that each day I could feel it swallow inside that they took from me. I don't want to feel your deathly ways. And there's, like, these hidden words he says that are so fucking hard to pick up, because even if you look on the lyrics, it goes, I don't feel your deathly ways. But if you really listen, he says, I don't want to feel your deathly ways, but the wanna is just, like, tucked in so you can barely hear it. And then he has this whole, like, build up to dance with me, whatever. And then he screams out the chorus one more time, and then he's going, got the life, got the life, got the life. And then the last one, it's God's a lie. it's not got the life. He goes, God's a lie. When he like stops saying got the life. He says God's a lie on the last one. And I was like, I never caught any of this before.
Neither did I.
This is fucking pretty shit. It's like fucking sick. So all things considered, I love this song from the sound perspective of it. Like I was saying to Bonnie, who my girlfriend thinks Korn is like a repellent to her. She really doesn't like Korn that much. But I was telling her, like, if I had to die and there was like, or I was on an island and I have 100 songs, because I started thinking, like, what would be like the 100 songs I'd put on that island with me? I'm pretty sure Got the Life by Korn beats out like most music and is in like the higher end of that list. It's definitely not top 50, but I still think it makes the list of top 100 songs of all time, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna have to give this song an automatic 5 on 5.
Yeah, it's a 5.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite Korn songs as well. This is probably my favorite Korn song, and when I first saw them, they actually closed off with this after they did their encore, because like I knew they were gonna have to play this song. They had to retire it on TRL, so that just proves it. But this song, I actually want to go with you on the chorus. I actually thought
I would love to hear your version, because
Yeah.
I could be wrong.
Well, the second part I agree with. The first part is what I heard was, God rings me, you'll never see the light, the one you still see.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Okay, but even to because that's like it's similar to what I'm like. It would like change the meaning slightly, but still be in the same vein of like you can't
idea.
see like what's in front of your face, man. It's crazy how like a song this big, people don't even really know 100% what the words are.
So people in the comments, if you guys do know something, we definitely want to hear it, because if it's a debate that still goes on till this day, so the most input we can get would definitely be the most help. But this song
was this one. Apparently Brian Welch, he confirms it's God paged me.
Oh, okay.
However, the part that comes after that is still up for debate.
Oh, okay, so it is God pages me.
But even like God ring me, God paged me, at that point, it's kind of when before this review, I always thought it was God saved me.
Oh, okay.
And I was very wrong. And now I'm like, okay, God paged me makes more sense. Ring me too also makes more sense.
Same idea, same perspective. Like, it just gets in contact pretty much is what I feel the meaning was for it. But I just feel it's a very powerful song, because like just everything, and especially the guitaring at the end when he says God's a lie, and you're hearing the slow guitar, the da-na-na, and you're hearing it live. It's like the best way to end a show, because you're just seeing like the banners come down and you're just seeing everything like end. It's just a perfect end, like, because you're seeing David the guitarist get up and throwing his drumsticks in the crowd and just seeing the band depart. It's just nothing is like, this is just a perfect end to it.
Fair enough. So yeah, I think we can all agree, including you watching this video, that this is a magnificent Korn experience. Then we're going to venture into territory of I've never heard it before, which is probably where I was at with the rest of this album. And we'll start that journey with Dead Bodies Everywhere. With your life, dead bodies everywhere. You really want... All right, Mike, what do you think about this one?
Well, I think it's a very fun song, especially at the beginning when you're hearing the little like da 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 na 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 na. When you're hearing that, you're like, what the hell is this? Like, you're like, okay, I know Korn, but what the hell is this going to lead to? And then you're just hearing the strong guitar go into it. And I just love the chorus, like the dead bodies everywhere. And then like at the end, when it's just going, dead bodies everywhere. And like, I just find it's a very fun song. It was one that a bunch of guys in school and I used to sing in, actually in high school in grade 8, actually, right before I saw them. A lot of the guys would sing this in class and stuff whenever the teachers weren't paying attention, obviously. But yeah, it was one that we'd sing a lot in class, because like the guys who I'd sing it with would always sing the end, just dead bodies everywhere. I'm like, no, you have to sing the whole song. But I just enjoy this one a lot. It's a very fun song, especially, but lyrically what they are saying with dead bodies everywhere is something that's also you have to look at in regards to what it does mean.
Do you know what it means?
Not fully.
Awesome. So this is what I am very grateful for people who tell me what to Google. So apparently his dad worked at a morgue.
Jonathan Davis?
Yeah.
Okay.
So this song is at a top level exploring the conformity of having your parents want you to go into a specific occupation. In this case, I'm going to assume a little bit that he doesn't want his son to go off and be a rock star because, you know, you don't want to ever have your kid go off and do that dream job shit. You always tell them, go to school, get your degree, go blah, 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 and all that shit that parents will tell you. And sometimes the parents are right. Sometimes you wish they'd let you do your thing. And then his dad wanted him to work in the morgue. So, in a sense, without that context, it's kind of a really creepy song. And it's still a really creepy song because I don't think everybody would have like really known that context, but that's a good example of an artist writing a song for themselves, not giving a fuck if you get the message. And that's cool. I respect that art because, come on, step inside and you will realize. Tell me what you need. Tell me what to be. What's your vision you'll see? What do you expect of me? I can't live that lie. So, like, I mean, who of us has not had a parent or somebody disagree with our dreams of the future and try to encourage us to live in a certain way? And I think it's a really interesting transition from like the theme of the album, right? So I mean, there's a clear correlation. What's on is like the debauchery is not so good. Freak on a Leash takes us to the point of looking into how he feels because of the music industry. Got the Life is more of this like internalized pain of feeling unsatisfied in light of having the life that you know maybe always craved for. And then you go back even further to the childhood trauma with like dead bodies everywhere, where you're looking at, you know, something that was like part of his past a little bit, being surrounded literally by like fucking dead bodies everywhere. And then having like his dad be like, this is what I need from you, this is what you're gonna be, this is whatever. Okay, I can appreciate how that could manifest into that kind of verse that it is. And it really is like, I mean, my dad did not want me to pursue a career in music. I've not achieved a lot of success in a career in music, but at the same time, if I had started when I was 15, who fucking knows, you know? Whereas now, I'm doing what I can on my little grind. I'm, you know, making these reviews. I'm producing shit on my own. And whether or not people listen is not the point. It's still like what I'm doing. But my dad wanted me to go to school, go into sciences, study. And, well, I never lived that life because that would have been a lie. It would have been somebody else's dream. And I think that's what makes this cool. And then, hate a sick mom with a fuck dad, dealing with your life, dead bodies everywhere. You really want me to be a good son? Why you make me feel like no one? And I think, I mean, in the context of understanding his dad deals with dead bodies everywhere and shit, and everyone's all fucked up, and he's hating his life. He's like, yo, why do you make me feel like such a loser? You know, if I thought you want me to be a good son, why don't you build me up? And, you know, it's pretty, like, standard, but at the same time, I don't think a lot of people were like describing this kind of life experiences so explicitly at this time, right? Like it might be like today everybody's a sad rapper talking about this shit everywhere, but I think it's pretty bold, all things considered. I don't know, second verse kind of is like, let me be free, I'm gonna go live my life, I'm not gonna be what you want, etc. And then it just kind of flows up from there, and then you have your outro with dead bodies everywhere. But like, especially with another song that we'll talk about a little bit later on this album, growing up in a morgue must really fuck you up, right? Like I saw 6 Feet Under. That shit didn't look pleasant, you know, like
you're literally surrounded by dead bodies.
So like with that context, I'm like, wow, like this is like a really cool song of like not feeling supported in your dreams, but giving you almost like the worst example of how it could play out. Like, yo, don't go be a rock star. Come hang out with the dead bodies. Yo, the morgue money's gonna be real good, buddy. Let's just do it. We're gonna make all the money. You know, like, that's how I feel like it went down. Like, he had his whatever.
Still, I think in a way this song is actually telling you to follow your dreams.
Yeah, I think it really is. Or at least saying, just don't impose your dreams on others. Hear out what they have to say in a kind of convoluted, backwards way. Musically, though, you can really hear, like, almost that Korn feel. But then they have their kind of lyric riffs. But then in between that, they really floss some creepy technical rhythms and shit. The slower down stuff they do, that sounds really, like, specific and well done, in my opinion. I really enjoyed the musicking on this. I give it a 4.35 on 5. Like, to me, it's a good song. It's really great. I mean, it's not Got the Life Freak on a Leash great, but I also haven't listened to it as long as I've listened to those two songs. I feel like this is one that will grow on you over time. And if I'm ever angsty again on the future, it's definitely something I would be going to.
Well, I'm going to give this 4.5 on 5. I think it's a good song for the album. But one thing I also wanted to add on this, I think this would be a good song to be played like during a horror movie when someone's about to get killed. As in like the whole beginning with the whole like carousel theme type little song that's playing before they actually guitar in. But I feel it is a good like typical guitar thing, but I find it's a very noir type song as well. But I'm going to give it 4.5 on 5. I feel it's a song that if you're going to listen to the album, this is one that you definitely should be listening to.
The next song caught me off guard. Let's talk about Children of the Korn. Mike, how do you feel about Children of the Korn?
This is actually one of my favorite songs on the album. I'm also a big Ice Cube fan. I've seen Ice Cube twice. Seen him once at this festival we have in Quebec called Montebello Rock Fest, which is no longer around. Korn was actually at the same festival. I was surprised they didn't sing this song together when they were both performing because they were both on different days. But I was hoping they were going to do this live, but they didn't. But I just feel like Ice Cube's verse in, because I feel this is like Jonathan Davis just going really hard to understand style, and then you have Ice Cube being pretty clear with what he's saying. And I just heard when they were recording the song in the studio, it was really like louder than Ice Cube and Korn were suspecting. And but I just find it's a very cool song, like the way Ice Cube's verse comes in spitting really fast when Jonathan Davis had his style going really slower earlier. But I just feel the song is great, like when Ice Cube's going like talking about like with his dick in his hand and stuff.
Fair enough. I definitely was not expecting Ice Cube because it's not credited like in like the Spotify or whatever, so you're looking at it and you're like, who is that? Ice Cube? Attention all parents, report to your local therapist. I'm like, what the fuck? And then Jonathan starts singing and like the chord. So you know when like you hear new metal and it's like trying to go a little rappy just for the sake of the rapper? Like, and that's a little bit what this beat's doing.
Okay.
Now, I don't say that like it's a bad thing. I say that like it's one of my favorite fucking things to ever happen in music. Like when new metal-ish kind of bands deliberately have actual rappers rapping, so the
Like
rapping.
Linkin Park and Korn? I mean, Linkin Park and Jay-Z?
That's different because that was very much like they were repurposing existing shit.
Okay.
Like this would be a really good example actually. Or most recently when In This Moment did a song with Exhibit. And it was really fucking cool. Anyway, like when bands like deliberately go and they make the rap parts and shit, and I feel like that's what they did here, and it was cool. But Jonathan Davis is being a little confusing, but he's going glaring into my son's eyes reveals a pain. I felt her in the day. It was all about the pussy. If you can get it, a little girl like me never fucking liked it. So he's thinking back on being like a teenager and shit, and he's looking at his son and I guess reminiscing back in the day when it was all about getting girls, and a little faggot like him was never able to get the girls. So that was the implication. It was an obtuse way of like insulting himself because obviously since he couldn't get girls or he wasn't showing interest like they were, he must have been a little fruitcake, and then they would have insulted him in that regard. And so it was kind of like an obtuse way of looking at that. And then that's how he got bullied and shit. And then Ice Cube comes in like, we ain't taking no more. Like, yeah, now he's hooked up with the big Ice Cube and you're gonna fuck around. And then, you know, the chorus, so save me and the children are born. You feel it through me, you're the children of the Korn. And I feel like it's a bit of a rallying cry for the other degenerates of life to like band together and like, you know, I was bullied in high school. I'm like, yeah, we're the children of the Korn, that kind of shit. And then Ice Cube gives a super generic verse, but really fun to listen to. You know, my favorite part is fucked a lot with my dick in my hand, we coming through. Generation Triple X, we all about the weed smoking kinky sex. How the fuck, if Ice Cube's calling out our parents' generation as that shit, how is it the millennials' fault again? All of y'all were doing this shit before the millennials was doing this shit. We inherited this behavior. We just used Twitter to film ourselves doing it like stupid fools. That's the difference. We put it on camera. Y'all were doing it first. Anyway. Jonathan Davis further tells us, whatever, got called a fag of my life, then I got it so fine, it's so pretty like me, so figure once a fag, now a player, baptized and reborn, I'm the children of the Korn. So they called me a fag for being a loser and not being able to get the girls. Now I'm Jonathan Davis, the front man of one of the biggest bands in the world, and the girls I can get are better than the girls you'll ever dream of getting. I'm the children of the Korn. Then Ice Cube kicks in, fuck authority, hit your ass in the head with my 40. Your girls see more of me. After school, you better run to your car. Anyway, his rap is actually fucking fresh. I'm not trying to downplay it. It's just, the children of the Korn was born from your porn ass, twisted ass ways. Now you look amazed. Like, it's definitely, you're just not expecting to hear Ice Cube doing this shit on this album. I think it's brilliant. Like, I really enjoyed listening to it. Oh man, it's just so fucking random. And then, like, you got the outro where it's like, how you gonna tell me how to live my life? How you gonna tell me how to do some shit, etc.? Which is funny that the guys their age are now telling the millennials and younger how to live. I just want to throw it out there. How funny, how the generation, now they're all the parents doing it. But how to fuck, how to kiss, and it's good. It's like calling out, parental intervention and saying, yo, you can be part of that group of misfits who breaks the norms and, like, breaks free. Fuck the way it's supposed to be. Fuck authority. We're gonna be ourselves. And it has, look, the part about this song that makes it truly corny is the ad-libs. Jonathan Davis's little ad-libs under Ice Cube, and Ice Cube's like, ohs and grunts and shit. It's like
insanity.
Like, it's just so, it's insane. It's ridiculous. It's amazing. I didn't know I needed to hear this in my life, and now my life is better having heard it, and I say that sincerely. I give this song a 4.5 on 5. It is really cool, and I wish we had more tracks like this from this era to bump through.
Yeah, I'm going to give it a 5. It's one of my favorite songs on the album. If I'm going to listen to this album at all, this is one of the songs that I have to listen to. I mean, it's just a great album. It's a great song, and I don't know if it's aiming for, like, the actual horror movie Children of the Korn at all.
It was probably titled a little bit after that.
Yeah. Maybe also the children on the cover of the album could be the Children of the Korn as well.
And they must recognize their fan base is not a bunch of 40-year-old men.
Oh, yeah, especially at that point as well. But I do feel like that's what their fan base was, Children of the Korn, because we were young, we were children. But also at the same time, I feel like just everything with Ice Cube's just like, we ain't taking it no more. We ain't taking it no more. Just like the way like he just jumps in. Like, it's something that people weren't expecting, because there's a few songs with featurings on this album.
Oh, yeah.
And none of them are mentioned on the actual back.
Some
none
people,
of them are credited, so.
Somebody gave a great defense for that in the comments, saying sometimes it's just about listening to the art. I don't know. Maybe they felt that if they had advertised Ice Cube being there, it might have been interpreted the wrong way. But
not necessarily, because he was on Family Values with them in 1998.
But, like, I don't know if the world was ready for that kind of a feature on an album yet. Okay, I mean, it was cool for a very niche group of people. I don't know if it was widespread cool yet.
Because he actually sang this on stage with them for Family Values in 98.
I understand, and I believe that. But, like, outside of their tour, I don't know if that would have been the smartest choice. Like, because you would have received all the blogger hate and, Ice Cube's fucking, the Korn album, and
yeah, he's just trying to backpack off someone else's success or something. But
I like this song. This was totally worth it.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm gonna give it once again 5 on 5.
So apparently the next one stands for Big Black Cock. To be clear, it wasn't about dicks that I was saying. It's how he named Jack Daniels and Coke that they would sell in Europe in small bottles and blah, blah, blah. That's where the Big Black Cock comes from, the B.B.K. And this song, I believe, is again about intoxication. And again, I got this little Jonathan Davis quote, which I feel like when I know what he wrote about, it takes away from my interpretation. I feel like I'm just looking for what he said in it after. So kind of sad I know that. But, like, this song is just kind of like dealing with pressures and shit, you know. So you see, I've gotten this far. Please give me some place to rage. I'm not trying to go there, so take me away. Life sometimes pisses me off. It's never a good trip for me. Every time I reach for love, it's taken away. So we're back in that like same frame of mind where like we saw earlier when he in a freak in a leash, where it's like he can't ever really catch a break, or things aren't really necessarily working in his world, and it's sometimes a little more complicated, which then just really is expounded upon in the chorus. So night, so I play. We understand what that means from it's on, so he's gonna go down that debaucherous path. Give me a sign, this is day. And it's like all of a sudden it's the daytime, and like, yo, what the fuck, man? Oh, maybe even daytime is the sign to stop fucking partying and like focus for a second. Give me some patience, so I pray. It's time to die. Is that what I want? And it's like he's not satisfied to a point where he's like literally considering death and shit, you know? That's how he's feeling. That's what leads him to drinking and shit. That's what leads him down the path. And I think that looking at it in hindsight, I actually really respect what Jonathan Davis is doing with these songs, because it takes a lot of courage to like expose your worst insecurities like that, to even just discuss why you're into the world that you're in. Most people look at it like it's fun, and I feel like he's painting it like it's this miserable nightmare, which probably better reflects the reality of drinking that much alcohol. And like it's not like, it sounds cool until you really think about it when you're a little bit older and you're going, I would never really want to live like that. That's just me though.
Because when you're younger, you're seeing it as something completely as fun and stuff. But when you're older and you've actually experienced like a few drunken nights and stuff, you don't like really, like you look at it differently.
It's like you try to picture like every day for like years because you're miserable. You're just literally drowning your sorrows.
Like not doing it to have fun anymore, just doing it because you need it in you.
Or like the second verse says, there's nothing wrong with wanting to be loved. Is there something wrong with me? For once in my life, I'd really like to be free. Let me be me. And you just hear those words, and that's a man who's going through some shit, you know? Like, he feels empty, he feels alone, he's feeling like he's going through hard times, and then again goes throughout the situation of trying to escape through the intoxicants and whatnot, and the lifestyle, I guess, which is probably like this weird cycle where the more success you end up having, the worse this gets, because people probably don't like you. I mean, if you listen to hip-hop, you know all about what happens once you get some money. Nobody don't trust anyone anymore. It's fucking awful. It's probably the same thing for the rock stars. You get a little bit more of that like dog noise sound, is where he's like making mouth sounds, and again I like it because it reminds me of scat, and I think he really understands properly how to use his voice as an instrument on the track. I feel like structurally this song flows through. It doesn't like really stand out to me at the end of the day. I don't want to call it filler because it's not. It really has its own unique experience. It just, compared to some of the other ones, I feel like it just works as a good old, almost Korn by numbers, I want to say, song. Like, this is the one that I feel like the least imprinted into my brain when all is said and done. However, while I listen to it, I find it really enjoyable because I really like the overall sounds that they use. So I give it a 4.25 on 5.
Yeah, I'm going to give this 3.75 on 5. I find it was a good song, but after a few of the other ones, I find it was basically like a more of a come-down song after the bangers that I feel personally they were bangers before. But I do feel this is just a tale about his life as how it turned out to be this way, where he's surrounded by just getting fucked up all the time with alcohol and drugs all the time, but mainly alcohol in this one, considering what the name's based off of. But I feel this is just a tale of how he is right now, where his state of mind is into. It's just of, I just want to party and drink because of my life is just right now, and it's not the way I was expecting, whether that's in a good or bad way, but it's still pretty much life when you're on the road, and just to forget about all the darknesses, people decide to drown their sorrows away in alcohol or in drugs, and I feel this is just explaining how he is doing it right now and how he actually is living his life at that moment when it came out. So I just feel that this song is also a come down to everybody else, like just to, like, you know, relax after the other ones were great. I mean, it's still a good song. I still enjoy it. But I just feel that in regards to everything that comes off, it's more of just like just relaxes me more after hearing everything else. But I feel it's a good song, but just pretty much explaining
Fair
his
enough.
downfall.
Alright, well, the next one on the album takes a darker turn as we discuss Pretty. I gotta say, they really, as a band, understand how to use a bridge to, like, really breathe life back into the song. Because you'll often find that it's like verse 1, chorus, verse 2, there's another chorus, and then crazy ass fucking bridge, and then culminates into the chorus again. Now, while is that formulaic? Yeah, it's like half of rock music. But is it fucking good? Yeah, because Korn manages to do it in a fucking crazy, interesting way. What do you think about this song?
I think it's a good song. I mean, in general, like you're just hearing pretty much, like you were just saying about how the verses are coming out like that and the choruses as well. But it is a noir type song in regards to the feel of it. It is actually like a typical style Korn song.
I mean, lyrically, it has a very dark theme. So one day when he's in the morgue, a little girl came in with some broken ass legs, and apparently the father had done some very horrible things to this little girl and then thrown her away, and she died. And so when you look at the lyrics, so young, but I don't realize small white legs broke the pain between her thighs. I skipped some words on purpose. YouTube might demonetize the video just because of using those words. You look at that and you're like, oh, that's a literal thing. That's not like fucking fake. It's like he was in the morgue one day as a kid or whatever, and this unfortunate person comes in and he like looks at her. I see her pretty face smashed against the bathroom floor. What a disgrace. Who do I feel sorry for? And then it's like, man, does he feel sorry for this kid, for what happened to the kid, or he's haunted for the rest of his life over this? And it's like, I don't know, the second verse kind of flows in and it's like, how could someone steal a life? How could somebody like do this shit? And I mean, he's right. Like, this is some horrific level monstrous crap, and it fucked him up. And that's what gets explored as the bridge. It goes kind of psychotic with it. They really play with the flows and shit on a bridge in a way where I don't think, because a lot of bands go like straight to a solo. It's almost like Jonathan Davis gets incorporated into the solo to like make it a more riveting experience. And the way that bridge just plays out, I wait too late now, I feel hurt inside, take my soul away. And it's like, when you again look at how he layered the song, it's like B.B.K kind of explores again the debauchery, but then we understand that there's that morgue situation that we get introduced to just earlier from his dad, and then following it up, look at this horrible situation that transpired while I was involved in this like morgue thing. And when you realize it's like this true story thing that happened to him and whatnot, it's just super powerful, and you feel his pain, and he does such a good job of conveying to all of us the torture of having to live with the knowledge of seeing that. Like, it's one thing to for us to picture it maybe, but he had to like see that, not know what happened here, and then realize, and then yeah, man, it's fucked up. So I guess it's a 4.5 on 5. It's not a comfortable song to listen to, but it's really cool for like a song.
Yeah, definitely. And like I said earlier about the noir dark feel to it, because of definitely how it's regarded to child abuse in several different ways, sexual abuse and physical abuse as well, about how that girl came in. And I just want to say, from Jonathan Davis's point of view, that's something that no child should ever have to be introduced to. That's something that no child should have to see. Something like that to learn about at such a young age, and to have to experience it firsthand, to see what it was and discovering what actually happened. It's got to leave scars on you, and this is probably his therapy way of getting it out, pretty much. Like, just in order to, instead of discussing it with one person, he's discussing it with literally millions. And this is a song with a lot of controversy to it because of the background behind it, but it is a good story to be told, because even though it's not something comfortable, it's something that people do need to be aware of, especially in nowadays times as well, with everything going on. But I do feel it's a very powerful song. Yeah, I have to give it 4.5 on 5. But as Holden said, not comfortable, but a very good and powerful song. But it's one that I do feel if you want to hear a good story, or if you're a fan of controversy and stuff like that, it's something that you should take a listen to.
I just want to point out though that I don't not believe that Jonathan Davis was trying to be controversial. I think he was treating this shit like therapy. This was his experience and he shared it, and people just ran with it and made it more controversial. Whereas there are bands that deliberately use this type of subject matter for shock value. I don't think that's what Jonathan does here.
Yeah, neither do I. I feel it was just therapeutic.
But on the next song, let's just get rid of all of our seriousness because we got a special guest as we talk about All in the Family.
What the fuck you saying? You're a pimp, whatever.
If you thought that I was like feeling away when Ice Cube showed up, when you hear that, say what, and you don't realize at first, because you really don't. You kind of think Mob Dick's bigger than yours, whatever. You're thinking, this is weird. And it's got that like more rappy style new metal feel kicking in. And you're like, this sounds good. And then Fred Durst just shows up and goes, too bad I got your beans in my bag. You stuck up sucker, corny motherfucker. Taking over flows in the limp pimp. Need a biscuit to save the crew from John Davis. And then it clicked what the fuck this was. This was a battle rappy styled song of Jonathan Davis and Fred Durst going at each other. As a person who didn't know this existed, you have got to understand how fucking wonky the idea of this existing is to me. And Fred Durst is corny like a motherfucker. I'ma drop a little east side skill. Yeah, step back, cause I'ma kill. So what you thinking, Mr. Raggedy Man? Doing all you can to look like Raggedy Ann. Yeah. Oh, that's the level of disses we're getting on this song. It is so corny.
Yeah, even Jonathan Davis saying you look like one of those dancers from the Hanson video, you little faggot. Just the way, like,
it's like check you out, punk. Yes, I know you feel it. Now you gotta understand, he's not rapping. He's like singing at him. Yeah. You look like one of those dancers from the Hanson video, you little faggot hoe. Please give me some shit to wank with, because right now I'm all at it. Kids, suck my dick like your daddy did.
Who the fuck you think you're talking to right after?
But hold on. Jonathan Davis just asked Fred Durst to perform fellatio like his dad did, which means that already Fred Durst got his dick sucked by the dad, which I never understood those line of insults. It's not really that good.
No, but just the way Fred Durst came back with like a quick thing, like who the fuck you think you're talking to?
Yeah, but I'm known for eating little whiny chumps like all up in my face with that.
Oh, are you ready?
And I'm just like, okay, that's not that great. Nappy hairy chest. Look, it's Austin Powers. I hear you tweeting on them fag pipes, Clyde, but you said it best. There's no place to hide. What the fuck you saying? You're a pimp, whatever, limp dick. Fred Durst needs to rehearse. I was like done. I'm like, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I'm giving it to fucking Fred Durst, no matter what gets said, because that was the worst fucking battle line ever. Needs to reverse what he's saying. Want to be funk dubious when you're playing, ripping up a bad counterfeit, fake plus your bills on playing. That was pretty cool, because $3 bill and this song is garbage. It's garbage if you think about it. It's amazing when you think about it. It's both. This is shit that is so bad, it is actually really, really good. So because I happen to be 31 right now, meaning I was like 12 when these guys were fucking hot as shit in the world, I have a high level of nostalgic appreciation to listening to these two try to diss each other and shit. Objectively speaking, you call yourself a singer, you're more like Jerry Springer, your favorite band is Winger, and all you eat is zingers. You're like a fruity this is garbage. So you're from Jacksonville, kicking it like Buffalo Bill, getting butt fucked by your Uncle Chuck while your sister's on her knees waiting for your little peanut. This is like the kind of jokes we would have told when we were 12.
Yeah, true, definitely. But I feel at the same time, like, considering who's in the song, it makes it that much fun to listen to, because at the same time, you always wondered, like, I mean, you didn't, but, like, people were always wondering, like, who would be better, like who's better, Korn or Limp Bizkit, and this is like a battle way to figure it out type thing.
But it's like, you know,
corny
that
as
they're
hell.
like friends, right? Because like they called it All in the Family, because, you know, Korn then comes on the tour, and I guess that's
For family
I
values,
hate
yeah.
you and you hate me. You know what? It's all in the
the
family.
family.
So it's kind of like saying, yeah, we're brothers who are going to beef and have some fun. Yeah, we love it. But man.
And we performed this on Halloween
So
and
allow
family
me to
values.
say that this is the first time I've ever understood why hip hop may have had a problem with nu metal. It is this song, because it almost sounds like a mockery of legitimate and authentic battle rap.
Yeah.
It sounds a
Especially
bit.
the end. Don't, oh god, with the whole "oh no, but fuck
It's
you."
and I love you and I want you and I'll suck you and I'll fuck you and I'll butt fuck you and I'll eat you and I'll lick your little dick, motherfucker. And then Fred Durst goes, "Say what? Say what?" And I'm like, you could tell that they were just really fucking high. Like they'd done a lot of blow or whatever they were doing, and they did this song, and everybody thought it was a good idea. And this is probably the hardest song anyone will ever have to defend as a Korn fan for its existence, because like the only reason you're gonna like this song is if you already like Limp Bizkit and Korn, and some part of you likes the idea of watching these guys be corny at each other. Like it's in my opinion, a small group of people that are gonna think this is amazing. I think this is fun. I don't know if I'm gonna call it amazing. I enjoyed listening to this because I happen to be in the group of people that does like Limp Bizkit and Korn and kind of loves the idea of them together. It's a 4.25. Maybe if I'd grown up with this, I'd feel a certain way about it. But damn, this is the corniest battle rap I ever done heard.
Well, I'm gonna have to give this a 5 on 5. I mean, I grew up with it. That's the difference. I was actually like 10, 11 when I got the album and heard it. So, and at the same time, being that young and hearing a song with a bunch of swearing and dissing at each other, it was pretty fun for me. And the thing is, like you said, it's corny as hell, but it's nostalgic. And that's the feeling I have personally because of, at this point, not only was Korn my favorite band, but Limp Bizkit was also my favorite band as well. Was also up there too, because those are my two favorite bands at that point. And hearing two of them working together for it was great, and especially since they performed this at Family Values on Halloween, just like throwing shit at each other, like having fun on stage with it. They just, I think it's just two bands getting together, getting fucked up, having a lot of fun, and recording something, and dissing each other
I
as a joke.
totally get it. It's just the 90s was not the best with funny.
Oh no, definitely.
This is
not.
like the worst of frat humor.
No, because of the way, if you look at a lot of stuff in the 90s, like then and now, like for example, if you watch Austin Powers then and now,
I can't.
exactly.
I've given up comedy from that. I don't think anything like back then is that funny that we all used to think was. Like, I don't think any of it is anymore.
Exactly. That's why I'm just saying it's different times, but some things stick, some things don't.
No, and I respect that. And I'm not trying to say that other people won't find it funny. I'm saying the quality of rhyming, as a person who has reviewed a couple hundred rap albums at this point, is going, this is some garbage rhyming.
Oh, definitely. I'm not saying it's any
Like-
top-notch rap.
I mean, like, it's fine. It is. I'm happy I heard this song. I'm happy I know it exists. And I could listen to this again. This is the kind of shit I would throw on to make fun of it for the rest of my life.
Okay, well, I think it's a fun song in general, as the fact that it is two guys who pretty much, I think, set the standard for nu metal.
Oh, I agree. They were involved in it. And I'm not even saying anything bad about the significance of it. I'm saying, objectively speaking, this is a whack song that I'm happy I heard. That's all I'm trying to say.
Oh, and I actually love the wording that you use for that, because of that's exactly what the song is. But I enjoyed it. I grew up with it. To me, it's just something that's nostalgic.
If I was 12, this is hilarious. And I think that's the problem.
I was 11 so when I first heard it. So,
But I think that's kind of the problem with this song, is it's super funny for kids.
and actually, I was using some of these disses at EBS. Sometimes I was like, "My dick is bigger than yours."
That's so fucking amazing.
Yeah.
EBS is the elementary school that we both went to.
Yeah.
On that note, Reclaim My Place is the next one on this album. So I appreciate like the diversity in this song and like the faster kind of erratic pace that seems to be going on with it. And again, just that what the fuck? Like as a youth, that intro alone has me because you want to scream out with him. As a growing up, I'm going, oh, this is the I used to get bullied and now I want to take back my throne song. And unfortunately, my mind space is not there anymore, so it was a little bit harder to connect to this one. It's like there's this thing that grown men like to do when they make music like this, and it's to pretend they're 16 forever. And so they don't really do a lot at capturing the imagination of the people in their 30s. But fuck, if I was a 16-year-old, this song is the shit. I don't know. How do you feel about it?
Well, I feel this song is also just Jonathan Davis showing off all his talents in regards to what his voice can do, because I find he does switch around the style a lot in this song, and that's what I feel what he meant to do as well in regards to. That's why when you said the whole thing about take his throne, that's why he wanted to show you all his talents, everything he could do with his voice and all his talent in this song, because I feel this is a song where not just him, but the band as well is showing off how diverse they can be and showing off different levels of intensity.
Yeah, I completely agree with that because like it starts off strong. It has that, again, they have a really good control of the slower parts, and I think that's where you can see the differentiation between top tiered talented musician types and the ones that are a little bit whack, because a lot of people can go fast. Going fast is a lot easier to like correct and post to make everything sound good. Going slow is where it gets fucking tricky to still sound good, and I like the fact that they can blend those two multiple experiences into the same song. Lyrically, it's fine. I'm so numb, therefore I can't relate. I'm so dumb, there's nothing to hate. Really, is it me or is it fate? Give me peace or a release for fuck's sake. Just picture being in high school and you're so numb. People don't like you, so you shelter yourself off. People just think you're a dumb idiot. Nobody likes you. Blah blah blah. Give them something to say. Something Superfly never played. All I hear is disgrace. Erase them all and reclaim my place. Bunch of haters. Fuck the haters. I'ma do me. I mean, basically, this song is what a lot of hip-hop is. Fuck the haters, I'm gonna do me and win. In the past, he was a freak, and then he went ahead and got himself a band, and oh no, even his band picks on him, so whatever. Then he claims his place, and he's getting super strong with it. And then he kind of questions in the third verse as he looks around with a bunch of people trying to be like him, etc. Well, you can't relate to me. You can't be like me. You think you feel my hate? Look at me and you will find my fate. You always raped. I'll always be the same. You want to fuck with me? Come on, fucking play. And you just get the sense that now a lot of people are trying to connect with him and be involved in his world and stuff, but everyone's just kind of exploiting his pain and his past experiences in his life as a tool to help them with their pain and their relations, and nobody really cares about him. And so he's coming here to stake his sanity claim again. I'm not 100% sure what the goal of this song is, except that he wants to express that I guess people mistreated him his whole life and now he's here to like be the man, so what the fuck, a whole bunch. And it's alright. I'm okay with this one. It's got a great energy. Fucking bounced around to it. I feel like this is like a good standard. I don't know if I would actually remember it, except for like this is not one in the grand scheme of all the Korn songs I've heard that like I'm gonna remember in 6 months. It's a good song, but I'm not like I will remember the Fred Durst song. I might remember this one as much, but I feel like there's a much better song, so I give it a 4.25 on 5.
Yeah, I'm going to give it the same 4.25 because I feel this is just him just trying to express of, in the past I might have been an outcast, I might have not been liked, I might have not been popular, but now, look at me now, motherfuckers. Like, I'm on the top. I'm making millions. I can order what I want to. I only started this CD until I got the cocaine that I demanded, and the demands were met. Yeah. So it's like he's showing like what he's like. He's pretty much expressing, I might have not been the person when I was younger, but I'm the man right now. And that's why I just feel like this song was, like you said, it's not something that's memorable. Like, I have to say, like, because of the fact that we were doing this review, I actually was listening to the words and I was just figuring it out. I'm like, okay, I never realized it back then, but based on actually listening to it and breaking down everything that we're doing for you guys right now, I just feel like it gives me a whole different concept of the song. It wasn't one that I played a lot when I got the album, but listening to it now, I mean, I do feel it is that. But as Holden said, it's not as memorable as All in the Family, because All in the Family is definitely a song that you will remember off this album.
I feel like another one that you're gonna remember off this album is actually the next track, which is called Justin.
Oh yeah.
This song has a pretty cool use of effects on the voice of Jonathan Barnes, and I think like conceptually it's an interesting song too, right? So essentially this Justin kid wants to meet Korn as his last wish, and he's terminal and all of that stuff, and it really put a lot of pressure on Jonathan Davis, because I guess it's like, wow, this is the last thing this kid wants, is to meet us. So you got to live up to their expectations. You can't disappoint the kid. All sorts of other shit. So he like wrote this song to kind of vent out, I guess, the feelings, where it starts off with a fuck all that bullshit. You know, I can kind of see how, looking back with how many songs just kind of start off with fuck that. Maybe at a superficial level, it looks a certain way. But you look into it, you watch me play, I look away, your light's too bright, you found the light. So this kid has his essence, he's got his essence, he's watching him play, but he can't look at this person because understanding what's going to happen to him is so significant, even though this kid is just enthralled to, like, you know, see Korn and do their shit, you know? And then in that moment, what you're creating for that kid, take off in space, you and I. If you think about it, it's like you're creating this magical connection, this little, I guess, moment, really, where it's like the music and the experience lets you take off and escape like the actual circumstances, which are you're gonna die. That's the second verse. Like, he's blind, right? He's not really into subtlety. Want to meet me? Why? I wish I had your strength inside your soul escapes. So he's like, why the fuck do you want to meet me? And like how am I that motivational? And then he's almost like looking at this kid who's facing the end, probably looking really strong. And you know, like these kids at the end, they always look like they have this strength that I don't even know that I could muster up at all. And I think I'm doing okay in life, you know? And then the chorus kicks in, you get the third verse, cry into me, give me something alright, the kids that die listening to me, you are alive. And then I guess it's just almost accepting the fact that you can be this positive force for these people. So if there's one kid that feels like that way, there's probably more than one, and it's almost like a dedication to Justin, along with everyone else out there that like relies on Korn to get through a harder time a little bit. And then here's this moment, take off in space, you and I stay. And it's just like, we're going to create this memory, this immortalized thing. So Justin gets to live forever almost through this song. And as they're taking off in space, the vocal effects get really creepy. I feel like just the guitaring in this, it feels so distinct on this album. Like they were trying to create more of a riff that is like something that will sound different compared to what we previously heard. All of the complexity of it really works out well. I feel like it's this crazy, like, interesting, spacey experience that really conveys like this anxious curiosity that Jonathan was feeling in that moment, and it's still kind of sweet when all's said and done. I gave this on 4.5 on 5. I really fucking liked it.
Yeah, I like the whole tribute feel as well. I'm going to give it 4.5 as well. I feel it was very interesting song based on the fact that this kid wanted to actually meet Korn for his last wish. I mean, I met Korn myself, and to me it was like a huge deal, because meeting your favorite band, people that you feel have got you through a lot of shit, where that's probably what I felt probably this kid wanted to meet them for, was to actually do that. So based on if the whole 12 song thing at the beginning was dedication, and the fact that this song is also like a dedication to him, I feel that he should definitely look down on this and feel that his actual will to want to meet Korn and be so strong actually had that much of an impact on the band that he admired so much. The fact that they've made something that's also going to live, to have his soul live on.
Yeah, it's super powerful, super cool song.
But one thing, just the way they started that second verse, he just says straight up, "You're gonna die," and yeah, just he's being straight up about what's gonna happen to him. So
Yeah, man. And it's interesting just placement wise, right? Because you have him like reclaiming his place or trying to deal with it. Maybe All in the Family kind of has like some fucked up shit, and then some more fucked up shit is that you're friends with Fred Durst. And then after that, you have to establish that you're the best after getting dissed or whatever by everybody. And using Fred Durst as the embodiment of people dissing you is, I mean, it's a fair point. And then immediately after showing like, but there's this other side that people who feel a certain way that maybe is real. And then to follow that up, because there's that kid who left, but to talk about his seed in the next song is pretty cool.
I'm heading for that day.
All right, Mike, how do you feel about Seed?
I feel it's a good song. I mean, but nothing too crazy for me. For me, this is one that, just like a little while ago, I've been B.B.K. I feel like just more of a come down song in regards to what everything happened before and what's coming up, especially the next song. But I do feel it's a good song, but nothing too crazy for me. I don't have much to say on this. I'm giving it a 3.5 on 5.
Alright, I mean, this song is basically Jonathan Davis looking at his kid and remembering the innocence of youth he used to have before he got fucked up in his life. So, you know, in verse 1, we have him musing about the typical, every day it gets a little harder, he can't get away, he remembers there's a certain place, a place he wish I'd stay, he felt so lost, pressured, he headed for that day, just one thought in my head, really, do I need this fame? I mean, you're still at it, you clearly like the fame, a lot of bands, your last album was only a few years ago, you guys are still pretty active. I think Jonathan got to be comfortable with it after all said and done. But yeah, it's that kind of shit. And then, you know, in the midst of all of your narcissistic feelings of looking inside of yourself, he has this strangely worded sentence for the chorus that he like screams out as it shifts into like heavy gear mode, as the verses are all calm, and then heavy gear for like the hook. Every time goddamn I look at my seed, it's such a weird sentence because you would think every goddamn time,
Yeah.
but every time goddamn I look at my seed, I see something I can't be, beautiful and carefree. That's how I used to be.
I think it's just like saying at that time, then he's like, God damn, when he's actually acknowledging it.
And it's like, I agree. It's just the way he delivers it is powerful in that sense, because it's like you can see he's looking at his kid and almost remembering what life once was like. And then it's like he's looking at, like, you know, he's like, he's a freak or whatever. You know, he's some freak because he's so pressured, so weak. Something takes a hold of me. Sometimes I can't believe. So in a sense, Jonathan Davis is a regular-ass human after all. And when he looks at his son, he feels the fatherly feelings that many fathers feel when they look at their kid. Or maybe it's a daughter, I don't know. So I guess it's his son. And so he's looking at this and he's wondering, you know, and that's his kid. And so his kid is almost the reason to kind of keep going and to pursue it all. So I see this face so innocent and fine, see this face and I realize it's mine. It's such an interesting point to look at your kid and literally see yourself in it, but also see the things you used to be. And then he does some weird, like, Freak on a Leash, scat-like shit, but they pitch shift it so it kind of sounds a bit like a baby. And I thought that was fucking lame, but okay, it was alright. But they did do that at a certain point. I think it's around when they do the bridge part and then they kick into the chorus. They have like this moment of silence before they kick into super hard Korn, and then they do the chorus one more time and then they like repeat the every time like a freak line, and I'm like, this is a cool song. It's long and I felt like if you're not really feeling it, it starts to drag on once the song cuts and they bring it back for that last part. I felt like it was a little bit much, but it is a cool like idea for a song. Like I love what he's singing about and the way he like questions everything when he's looking at his kid and whatnot. But overall, I think it's on the worst end of this album, but I have to say that this far in, the worst end of this album is still really good. Like, there's nothing bad on this project. Every song is well put together. There's nothing that just sounds sloppy. It sounds so well crafted. So yeah, 4.25 on 5 for me on this one. I don't remember if you gave it a grade.
I gave it 3.5.
All right, so we'll go on to my last big surprise on this album as we talk about Cameltosis.
restless from the pain that passed. Ashamed cause the game kept playing me wrong.
A camel toe is when a lady is wearing tight pants and you can see the outline of her vagina inside of her pants. So that's a camel toe. So cameltosis is a disease plague on top of that. But that's the boring part of this song. The interesting part of this song is it's featuring fucking Slim Kid 3 from fucking The Far Side. Now, within the last 2 months, we reviewed The Far Side's Bizarre Ride to the Far Side. Last year, we did Lab Cab in California. So, I know who the fuck this guy is. And, I've reviewed some of his music and gotten to appreciate them. And then, because the rapping in the verses is just too good to be Jonathan Davis. It's just too good. And then you hear Jonathan do the hook in the chorus or whatever, but basically it's these rap verses and then Jonathan kind of doing ad-libs and singing. I mean, maybe Jonathan raps here, but I feel like on all 3 verses the rapping is a little bit too good for what Jonathan has shown us in terms of rapping. And it kind of all sounds like the same rapper to me. I couldn't figure it out. According to Genius, it's only the 3rd verse that's the featured guy, and I'm like, I don't know about that.
At the beginning.
Definitely the 1st verse. Maybe the 2nd verse is Jonathan, but maybe, I don't really know. Either way, at the time, Farside had lost one of its members, and Slim Kid had tried to get Booty Brown, and I think it was Imani was the other one there, and they were just like, fuck that shit, we ain't doing no Korn album, we hip-hop. And Slim Kid did this, and part of the reason that Slim Kid ended up leaving the group was this decision to do this song, because they thought it was a bad idea, and he was like, come on guys, let's do some cool music. Either way, the rapping is fucking dope, because he's really a talented rapper. I should have learned it from the start what I was in for. She break a tin can, she copied, we exchanged her info, called her on the telly, conversation was simple, ain't playing game, my game, retain the tempo. And I'm like, whoa, there's no edge, there's no corniness, it's just flowing. It sounds really good. And things, no shame, 2 sparks turn into flames, nymphos in the park, just dancing in the rain. Hook me to fix and look to drain my aim. Some never retain, that wouldn't suck from your veins. And it's pointing out how this lady is a bit of a succubus. That's maybe not the best idea. And then the way it flows out that part, so baby, I ask, what do you want from me? It really sounds like a Far Side joint. That is some shit Far Side would do. And I was like, that's really cool, because it's not often when I come across these weird crossover obscure shits where I actually know the source material. So that was really fun for me. And then, the chorus is fine. You see, this time I cannot ever love another cunt. You did end up loving another one after the one you broke up with or whatever. You trick ass slut, love twice and you'll get fucked. Honestly, I feel like Jonathan Davis on the hook is probably the weakest parts of this song. And then the verses 2 are good. The next 2 verses are fine. Flows in through. And it's just really, I found it to be this crazy, weird, it's like a Far Side song. And it's like a Korn song mixed together in such a way where if you recognize the 2 styles, you actually see how they link together. And that really impressed the fuck out of me. Unlike the Ice Cube song, which kind of felt a little cornball, but was still kind of fun, or the Limp Bizkit song, which was definitely cornball, but still kind of fun, this was wow, nu metal could have been amazing if more people had gotten behind it like this, if more people had tried as hard as Slim Kid tried on this song, because I don't think Ice Cube gave his full effort, and I don't think Fred can give a good effort. I think Fred's always going to be a little corny. I like it, but he's still going to be corny for life.
It's a niche market.
It's a 4.5 on 5, this song for me. I really liked it.
Yeah, I'm going to have to give it the 4.25. I feel like it was a good crossover, really interesting, because I wasn't familiar with Farside before at all.
Oh, you should check them out, dude. They're fucking good.
Yeah, well, I definitely am right now, and I feel it was a good mix with them together. And I feel, because, since I'm not familiar with Farside, I'm guessing the rapping was Farside style, but the guitaring was also Korn. So I feel like it was a good crossover in that way, and maybe if I get more familiar with Farside, I'll be able to actually understand it more like you. But I feel it's a very fun song. It's a very different song than what the album's used to giving out, and I feel like this one, just like every other featured one, is going to be a memorable one because of, I just feel the fact that it's different. It's showing you that Korn can be more than, because one thing I've always appreciated about Korn, they're a very unique band that's very hard to rip them off. So I feel like this was also a different style, showing how diverse they can be, how they actually worked with, I'd say, 2 different rappers on this album, and even if you want to consider Fred Durst rapping, then also another one. But I still say that they showed complete diversity with this song as well. It's a very fun song. I just find it's a very different one, and it's pretty much introducing Korn to a different, introducing Korn fans to a new group that's not that famous, but introducing you to someone new.
All right. So I guess that brings us to the last song on the album, which is called My Gift to You.
In the shadows of your broken soul.
So if you had bought the disc, you'd know that there's a whole other song after this that's tucked away in hidden songland, and we'll get to that, I promise. But this was still like a 7-minute, like fucking, how long was it? 7 minutes, 15 seconds, fucking super ballady outro darkness song. Apparently the context is his girlfriend at the time was like, why haven't you written me a song saying how much you love me? Why not? Like, I don't understand it. And so he wrote this about her because he had this long-standing fantasy of choking her out and killing her. And they would have this twisted things, like she would leave him love notes of, here's 15 ways I'd like to kill you. And that's the kind of twisted relationship they had. So she appreciated this as a fucked up token of his love, because there was effort involved. And I'm like, well, this relationship didn't last, and he ended up with the next girl. But man, this is a fucked up song, because it really was inspired about his girlfriend. Anyway, it's long, it's creepy, and basically he fantasizes about grabbing her by the throat and killing her. So it's like, there you are, my precious, not long ago, hiding between the shadows of your broken soul. Why is it always you want something you can never have? Why did you try to tell me? How could you be this way? So it's almost like the girl's nagging at him with regular ass shit, like girlfriends will do. Oh, you should pick up the this, or oh, you should do the this. And he's like, woman, you should never have questioned me, blah, blah, blah. Your throat I take grasp, then your eyes roll back. Love racing through my veins. Your heart stops beating. Black orgasms, I kiss your lifeless skin. So it's like smut porn in a song. And yeah, and then it ends with, here I am, just a man feeling pain gives me life. Relieving us is my plan. I'll do anything just to see through your eyes, see through your eyes, see through your eyes. And then it's kind of like an interesting thought. His biggest fantasy is to witness the murder. Like, he wants to see his face as he's killing her through her eyes and shit. And then something he is good at doing is, in the last time when he goes, just to see through your, and then he goes, I hate you, can't you feel the pain? And he screams that out a whole bunch of times, and then goes back to the chorus, and then repeats lifeless skin. And then I'm like, that's a fucked up love song. I do not know how I would feel if I was the girl listening to this, but still, it's an okay track. I feel like it's a distinct way to end the album. And on the one hand, like, it's creepy as shit, but on the other hand, there's this dark romantic side to it. Also, there was something to the timing that I thought was super nifty and like stood out, because it doesn't feel like it's just 4 by 4 by 4. It felt like it was 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 4. I don't know if that's a real timing, so I called it 3 3 3 4 timing. But if you listen to the verse and the way the guitars are playing out, it's 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 and then a 4 count to kind of tie it all back in together. And I thought rhythmically that was cool, because it's not that often you see bands playing with shit that isn't your standard 4x4. So for you music nerds out there that know a lot more about the music construction side than I do, I want you to know I noticed that one. I like this song. I give it a 4.5. It's a twisted love song. It's very twisted.
Yeah, I feel the same way. But like how you said, you don't know how to feel like it if you were the girl in this case, but you also don't know because you've probably never been in that type of relationship where that stuff intrigues you, where...
not innocent.
Okay, well, I've never been in that personally from my view, but I never had fantasies of choking my ex girlfriend or anything like that. But the thing is, like, if you're into that kinky shit, and this was like, she was upset that you never gave her a song, And since this was basically personal about how they felt with each other, like into that crazy ass kinky shit, violently kinky shit, I feel like this was his way of saying, okay, this is my gift to you, and since I'm pretty much discussing stuff that only you know that we're into, I feel like that's something that was like the extra icing on the cake per se to it.
I mean, I can see how, like, in the right relationship, this is romantic. But I can also see how the girl kind of wanted to, why don't you write me a fucking song saying you love me?
And this is his way of saying, shut the fuck up, alright, this is my gift to you.
But it's his way of saying, you know me, I can't do that. I fucking wrote a song about killing you and fucking you. And it's just fucking weird. Whatever, it's what it is. But it has like, I love you so much I can fantasize about killing you feel, which does have that deep connection. And I'm certain that whoever's dating Jonathan Davis is not expecting the regular level of romance that she would expect from other people. He's that dark romantic type.
And if you love him, then this is something that's probably going to be very much appreciative to you.
To that end, though, if you did let that silence play out for a while, you would come across a bonus song called Earache My Eye.
Go ahead.
So you hear them like having a conversation about ethnicities and clearly smoking some marijuana for a minute. Then it just kicks in and it's like a Korn song if Cheech was gonna sing it. And it's just fucking ridiculous. My mama talked to me, tried to tell me how to live, but I don't listen to her because my head is like a sieve. My daddy, he disowned me because I wear my sister's clothes. Caught me in the bathroom with a pair of pantyhose. Like, this is back when trans shit was like funny.
Yeah, that would never fly right nowadays.
For wearing high heel sneakers because I'm acting like a queen, gonna tie my pecker to a tree, and I don't give a damn as long as I have my bitch, or I'ma fuck you. It don't bother me if people think I'm funny because I'm a big rock star and I make lots of money. So in a sense, it's kind of satirizing the lengths people will go to, I guess, live and act a certain way. And there is something to be said that if you really wanted to get famous and you couldn't succeed as a singer or anything, if you dressed up in women's clothes and did the drag thing, you might have a clear shot to success if you learn that really well. You don't even have to be that attractive, you just have to be that charismatic. This was a strange thing for me to listen to. I give it a 4. It's kind of like a nice surprise as like a bonus song, but like I'm not counting this as part of the album. This is just like an add-on. Like,
Yeah.
you know, this is the little after the movie Marvel credits thing.
You know, just like that bonus scene after the credits. To me, nothing much. Just I guess the band was probably just like one of those things. Oh, we're still recording. Let's just try to just add something on. All right, cool. Let's just like fuck with them. And yeah, I just feel it's like them just getting stoned and just like, all right, let's just finish this up with putting something stupid on. I feel the guitaring was good though. I like the guitar in it, but I personally won't count this as part of the album as part of my grade. But I'm gonna give it 3 on 5.
Fair enough. So that brings us to the end of this album review, where I have to say I truly enjoyed this project. As a whole, I gave it a 4.469. I think it is a classic in the nu metal era of music. It is definitely a project that I think it may have actually gone up in appreciation if you look at it with a lens of understanding of what drove Jonathan Davis to his music. Now that a lot of stories about him are out and we know a lot about the world he was in that created this music, I feel like it adds a lot more value to it, and it goes a little bit away from just petulant whining into a meaningful experience of a guy who's exposing his emotions before it was cool to do so. Sonically, they're all over in terms of creating an eclectic mix where there are a couple of songs that might be kind of more in the filler-esque of the feel of the album. For the most part, everything's a distinct experience. Most of it's heavy, definitely got some funky groove in there, and you can just feel like how well that how tight the musicianship is on this album, mixed with how like versatile and incredible Jonathan Davis really is as a singer. Overall, great album, and I'm really happy to have talked about it.
Yeah, me too. I'm glad I got to review this with you, someone who actually was around at that time, like when they were popular, even though you weren't really listening to them.
No, I was not.
Yeah, but I was at that point. I've been a fan of them for a long time, and this was actually one of my favorite albums from Korn. This one and Untouchables are my favorite 2 Korn albums, and this one I just feel they were They did a dedication to someone. They had fun with it. They played some very deep songs, and they showed off all their talents. I find they showed how diverse they can be. As a grade, I'm gonna give it 4.25. Actually, 4.5 on 5. I'm actually gonna 4.25. I'm gonna stick with.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let us know what you think in the comments. I totally look forward to seeing how you felt about this project, what your experiences with Korn are. Did you see them live? Were you one of those infamous ladies who was backstage in the recording? Imagine one of the groupies in that moment happens. Like if you find the term groupie offensive, Miss Lady watching this, I apologize. But like in general, that would be really cool. So let us know your experiences in the comments. I'd love to hear whatever you have to tell us. If you make that effort to comment, I'll make that effort to answer you. You can also hit subscribe for more reviews. You can hit that like button if you did. And special thanks to the patrons: Ismail Gadamsi, Chris Prado, Jonathan Barnes, DJ Black, Hurricanes, and Linda Williams. They support the channel. They want to see us grow. They helped us get a new camera. They get to tell us what albums to review. It's been a couple of weeks. It's TJ Black Hurricanes review. And for $1 or more a month on Patreon, you can help us become something big like Anthony Fantano up on this platform. Otherwise, we make some music up in here. You can check that on the channel. And looking forward to catching y'all next time. Thanks, and have a wonderful day, week, month, year.